Hey guys, it's Miss Waters here with your flipped lesson on expressions and properties. This may come as a review to some of you, but it is important that we cover it in this flipped lesson. Make sure you're following along in the notes as you are in the video. So the first definition in our notes is called terms, which is defined as the parts of an expression that are being added or subtracted. So let's underline a couple of the terms that we see. Well, x cubed is a term, 2x squared is a term, 5x is a term, and 4 is a term. 5xy is also a term, 4x squared is also a term, and y is a term. I'll let you figure out the last one. Now, it might seem kind of crazy, like why are these all terms? Terms can be either a single number, like 4, it could be a variable by itself, like y, or it could be a combination of either, like 5x and y, or 2 times x squared. These are all terms. As you can notice, they're being added or subtracted from other terms in the expression. So our next vocabulary word of the notes is variables, which we define as a symbol, usually a letter, that is used to represent an unknown number. Now let's box our variables. X is a variable, Y is a variable, A is a variable, and so is B. Every time you see X, Y, A, and B, they're all being variables. We use letters because we may not know what the number is yet, but we know we want to work with them. Our next vocabulary word is coefficients, which is simply the number in front of the variable. So let's go through and highlight each coefficient from each term. So we have 2, 5, 5 again, 4, 4 again, and 2. Now, in order for a number to be considered as a coefficient, it has to be multiplied or divided by a variable. Otherwise, it's just a constant, which we'll talk about in the next slide. Okay, but let's consider x cubed. X cubed doesn't really have a coefficient, or not that one we can see. So, but can we also say 1 times x cubed is just equal to x cubed? Just like we could say 1 times negative y is just negative y. If the coefficient is not written, it's typically because it's just 1, and we often leave out 1 when we're multiplying and dividing because we don't need it. Our next vocabulary word is constant. When we typically think of constant in English and language arts, we might think of something that happens all the time, or that stays the same. Well, we can actually think of a constant in math as the same thing. Our constants here are 4 and 3. We call them constants because they have no variable attached to it, so their values will always stay the same throughout the entire expression. If we were, say, given the value of x or the value of a, we would have to change the value of that term. With constants, their value stays the same because they have no variables attached to it. Another thing to note that constants always takes the value of the sign in front of it. So here our 4 is positive and so is our 3. And that's all I have for the flip lesson today. Now, flip to the back of the page and research the properties listed in your notes and try and complete them on your own. Don't forget to fill in definitions and examples for each. You may use Google or any other resource available to you. I'm excited to see what you guys will bring in class tomorrow. I'll see you soon.